The momentum towards marriage equality continues. Back in February, you'll remember that federal district judge John Heyburn, who, by the way, is a George H.W. Bush appointee, issued a ruling that overturned Kentucky's ban on same-sex marriage, specifically to recognize same-sex marriages that take place in a different state, but then are recognized within Kentucky. Judge Heyburn has now gone even further yesterday, expanding that to say that the state's ban on allowing same-sex couples to marry within the state is also unconstitutional, noting that, quote, the ability to marry in one state is arguably much more meaningful than the recognition of a marriage from another state. This is obvious. As several other judges have already done, Heyburn found that, quote, homosexual persons constitute a quasi-suspect class, and thus heightened scrutiny must apply. This means that sexual orientation, the same as gender, the same as race, must be held to a certain standard when they may be the targets of discrimination. I don't know how much more simply I can put this, Lewis. This particular decision is stayed because of an instant appeal. We will eventually see. There's actually going to be a day in August where the Sixth Circuit is going to consider appeals for Kentucky, Ohio, Tennessee, and Michigan all on the same day. That's going to be a big day. But putting that aside, putting the immediate stay aside for a second, the momentum is clear. And I'm starting to wonder how many of the anti-gay bigots are going to turn very violent because of the momentum, which clearly they don't like, and how many are just going to give up the fight and focus on something else.
Many are going to give up the fight because for them, the fight is making sure that this doesn't happen in your state. And once it does, they might put up a stink for a little while, but ultimately they'll have to give up. And now, I don't think we can make predictions about a timeline anymore. I'm just curious to see what the last few states will be, what the holdouts will be.
Because there are surprises, right? When we hear about Utah and Kentucky, we're hearing about states that we wouldn't have predicted would be happening in 2014. We thought it would be further off, but we're seeing it happen. So at this point, I wouldn't even venture a guess as to what states will be the eventual holdouts.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but of course we can assume that they'd be very, very red states.
I want to talk about one other thing that Judge Heyburn said, because in light of the Hobby Lobby case, it's particularly relevant. He said, in America, even sincere and long-held religious views do not trump the constitutional rights of those who have been outvoted. I don't know if he saw that Hobby Lobby case, because the obvious problem with that statement is, I agree 100% with Judge Heyburn that religious views should not trump the rights of people. But the Hobby Lobby Supreme Court decision is an example where a religious hiding behind religion is being accepted as a reason for which the law, the upheld law, the constitutionally upheld law can be circumvented. So I agree with the judge. I just don't think he's right that this isn't happening every single day now in this country.
It's happening, and I'd like to think the Hobby Lobby decision will ultimately be overturned. We'll have to see what happens with other companies that end up making the same types of decisions.